I'm about to Malphite smash this conversation because we're getting way too serious
I
and
was gonna
way
say
too in depth.
we're
I
jumping the gun.
I don't care about anything in the game. I want to know more about Scarzig. I brought my friend Scarzig here to learn more about him so I can stalk him better in the future. And I want to know. I want to know Scarzig. So you're getting into Runeterra. This is a game you're interested in. You're like,
Yeah.
I like card games. It looks like it could be okay. What were you first expecting when you were getting into Runeterra for the first time?
Ooh, let me see. So I played Runeterra, and I got to play during when they did that like alpha weekend where
Yeah.
the game was
Mhm.
available for like 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
I only got to play for like a day and a half of that
Okay.
time. I had a very short stint with the game to
Mhm.
like play, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like the early days of Runeterra. It's been a long time. A lot of people maybe forget, but when
Mhm.
the game first came out, the art, the polish on the effects and the client is just it's so we're used to it now, but when Runeterra dropped, oh
Unrivaled.
my god, it
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
gorgeous. I got sucked in immediately. I had been playing League of Legends on the side, which I guess in my gaming history I kind of forgot to mention, but I think everybody's played League of Legends a little
Everyone
bit.
has
Never heard
that
of it.
blind spot.
Yeah, oh yeah, that game. But so I was hoping like basically I had played like Artifact and Duelist, and having the promise of a CCG being backed by a company that has like the experience and the budget
Mhm.
and just a big enough team to go the distance and take down Hearthstone. Not necessarily take it down, but to get a big enough like slice of the pie, so to speak,
Sure.
Yeah.
to kind of stand on its own and get a niche for itself and just be one of the main players in the genre, because everybody else is just kind of trying to find their own niche audience. Or
Mhm.
it's kind of like, I guess like when MMOs were coming out back in the day, everything was supposed to be the WoW killer, but
Yeah.
that's
Right.
not how you want to go about it. You don't want to
Mhm.
kill the other games. You just want to be strong enough to have your own foundations. And I knew that Riot had a really good chance of accomplishing that. And
Mhm.
after trying to break into the streaming scenes and the casting scenes for a few other games, like it I knew that Runeterra was going to be able to cultivate that environment for people like me and people like us to
Mhm.
flourish.
Yeah. I mean, similar stories for both myself and
And
Saucy too, right?
yeah, and I mean, not even to mention like, just like the fun aspect. And I talk about how like
Right.
my design for Scarzig, like a champion where like the core idea of Runeterra is building your deck around a thing that transforms,
Mhm.
is something I love in card games, where you want to set up like this long-term goal to
Mhm.
like synergize your deck around and get a big payoff, is just what I like to do in card
Right.
games.
So you're saying you're a matron watcher combo player?
Oh my god.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, we've talked about it over the course of many episodes, but it's worth noting that like I think what a lot of people see or saw in LOR, compared to other smaller CCGs or card games is like
Mhm.
because it's backed by Riot, it
Yep.
obviously is a Riot game and has the Riot IP. You've got that sort of baked in, but also um you've got the you've got a company who has the ability to not rely solely on this card game making all of their money to continue
Mhm.
to be a
Oh,
company,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Runeterra or TFT could technically, at least for some amount of time, at least theoretically, be a loss leader, right? Where like, okay, well, if well, Magic isn't really necessarily the case because they've kind of
Yeah.
diversified over the course of 30 years, but like, some of these other digital card games that come out that you see pop up. I don't know any off the
Mhm.
top of my head, and I'm not trying to slander anything, so I won't name any specifically. Not that I can name them anyway, because I'm an idiot. But like they come out and it's like, okay, this is that company's game, that is their entire
Yeah.
IP.
When that's the
And if
thing they make.
like when they don't make money on that, they stop being a company after some amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Once the money runs out, they stop being a company. That's not going to happen with LOR and with Riot, right?
Yeah.
Or theoretically
Mhm.
at least. So there's a lot of just like that baked in, like there's an amount of confidence that you can come into it
Yeah.
with, which I know is enticing for a lot of folks.
Definitely.
And just, you know, the Riot Games polish and all that too, I think is what a lot of people were expecting. But now, of course, you know, we've come a long way over the course of a year plus since that original time. In that time, obviously, Scarzig, you've built up your stream quite a bit. You have, you're the Fight Night EU caster, and of course,
A lot of fun.
not last weekend, 2 weekends ago, we were both on the America's seasonal. So, you know, moving into the future,
Crazy. Yeah.
I know, right? From a personal side, and also from a game, from the game itself side, you know, where are you looking to see LOR you know, go in the future?
This is, you know, a real opportunity for, you know, card games have been like a very niche genre, and I think it will continue to be, just because, you know, players, you know, and audiences specifically have different needs and different desires. But for when it comes to the CCG community, I think that Runeterra does have something that players are really looking forward to trying out. And as you mentioned, with just that safety net, the potential for growth and stability is, it's like the foundation, I feel like, is already there. It can only go up from here when they look towards increasing the prize pools. When it comes to, when you compare it to other esports, right? CCG genre / Runeterra against other
Right.
esports, there is a lot of money involved a lot of the time, but that like is sort of hoarded by like organizations that are hiring like these really top level players. And CCGs, I think, still have a lot of that older feel to it, of where like anybody could, if you're good enough, break into the scene and make a name for yourself and get a cut. And I hope that Riot is somehow able to bring their professionalism and like their constructed competitive like formats to the scene, but still somehow maintain I want it like all the ways.
Right.
But I think that with what the ecosystem they set up right now, they could potentially accomplish that. And one thing I do really hope for the future is when we start to grow the esports scenes, they aren't afraid of doing maybe one-off events with really silly formats, or
Yeah, I'm into that.
and also maybe sort of reinventing the prize cuts, where it goes a bit further down the line, so that the
smooth out
players that
yeah.
are, you know, training and testing and prepping all these X's, like being so adjacent to the competitive scene, you get a much better idea of like all the time that goes into like performing well at this game. And even Saucy said the way the meta shifts wildly from day to day, and we have so much data, like parsing all of that and knowing what lineup you want to bring and just playing cleanly on top of all of that. I think that you don't want your players to go that ham and then not get top 4 and walk away with next to nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And being able to say, I made top 16, I made top 32, I made top 64, and getting like something very worthwhile is going to keep players from leaving your competitive scene or something like that, right? So I think that that's what I'm really hoping to see from Riot, is support for, you know, the players further down the line, because competition right now is fierce, and EU Masters I think is showing us that like is fierce competition, and so somebody's got to lose, and all of these players are monstrous and very deserving.
Yeah, no, and especially now that we're getting more things with Worlds being announced and getting more players interested in it. Like you said, the competition, it's like the grade of competition is only getting higher and more intense. And that's one thing when, you know, when people are talking about like, oh, the meta or like the game seems more serious now, people are playing these try-hard decks. I'm like, well, now there's actually reasons to like your finish on ladder matters a lot more. So like you said, just bringing in the grade of player to the game, it's just continually getting higher, which is really cool to see. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. We record episodes live every Tuesday right here and on Twitch. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more Runeterra content and ring the bell for notifications when our videos go live. See you next Tuesday.